You're in the middle.
All right. Do we start with the anal ring toss?
There you go. So there you go.
We always end with that. Come on.
This film is so raw. We were just talking about it that I didn't know for the first 10 minutes whether it was real or not. I mean, it's kind of
funny.
You sit there going, huh? Is that really happening? How did you find this family? How did you decide to start down this road? What was the...
Well, I met the Whites back in '89 when I was directing a documentary called The Wild World of Hassel Atkins. Hassel Atkins is a rockabilly singer from Boone County. Kind of well-known, kind of super demented music that influenced punk. Punk bands started covering him in the '80s. And because his music was all about cutting people's heads off, and are we allowed to cuss on this?
Sure.
Okay.
Cuss all you like.
You know, and all sorts of really fucked up shit. And while I was shooting this movie with Hassel, there's a concert, and in the middle of the concert, 3 different female friends of his got in a giant, what feminists don't like to be called, but it's a cat fight. And as this fight just kept being, like, there was this woman who got super fucking pissed, broke up the cat fight. Because she was there to party. She actually yells, I'm here to party, so fuck this fucking shit. And that was Mamie White. And basically that day, she kept coming up while I was shooting, and she would say to me, she'd say, come here, and I'd be like, what? And like with the camera, she'd just, as soon as we got close, she'd be like, I'm on fucking acid, woo! And I was like, all right, well, that's great. You know, you don't know how to respond. Then the following week, I went back to shoot some more of Hassel. Hassel quit his gig because he was always sure someone was ripping him off, and this club in West Virginia was ripping him off. And someone pulls up in this pickup truck, and she goes, you're the movie people, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, come here. And basically, till I get right up here, and I go, what? She goes, I'm on acid again, woo! And then she said, oh, I want you to come to my house and meet my brother Jesco. Tomorrow is my birthday. I'm going to have a cake with tits and pussy on it. And I said, well, you can't say no to cake. So I went there, and that's where I met Jesco. And I videotaped him for the first time, became obsessed with him. Was a little scared at first because he had swastika tattoos on his hand, and someone of my persuasion sometimes gets a little nervous about that at first. But they were totally, like when you're in 3rd grade, you do a swastika, and it's all backwards and not right, not like, you know, nothing, Goebbels would be very proud of. And
he also had gel bait on his hand, but wasn't it gel bite or something?
He had a tattoo that said B-R-I-D, Brid Jael, J-I-A-L. And I just kept staring at it forever. And I was like, Jessica, what is that? He goes, well, I was fucked up in prison, and I wanted them to put jailbird on my knuckles, but I was so fucked up, they, as a joke, put Brid Jael instead.
And high on lighter fluid when that happened.
Yeah.
Usually high on gasoline or lighter fluid.
Yeah.
So did you guys have any awareness of Jesco or the...
Go ahead, PJ.
Yeah, well, it's because of this initial footage Julian shot with Jesco, it turned into the Dance and Outlaw documentary.
Which was on PBS.
Julian took it to these people, and they made a documentary on him. And what was your job on that?
Associate producer.
Associate producer.
And sound man.
He discovered Jesco, and that was a great. I love that documentary, and it was a huge underground success in the South. And I've seen it at least 50 times. I gave it to Tremaine.
He gave it to me, and we were just, what? And I passed it around. We made dubs with it and passed it around.
Yeah, but that one was different from, that one was pretty much cut for joke.
Right.
And, once I met Julian, I was a fan of the Hassel Atkins documentary. Was great, and I saw his name on the Jesco documentary, and I had a chance to meet him, and I invited him to lunch, and we started talking about the initial Jesco documentary, and I was quizzing him so much about everything Jesco White and the family. And he goes, I still have 5 or 6 hours of initial footage. And it was like the holy grail to me, being from Tennessee and loving it so much. And so Julian let me see it, and let Jeff see it, and we all looked at it, and we're like, we need to do something else with Jesco, and we all talked about it, what we could do, and then we decided to send Julian back up there for a few days and see what you can get.
Yeah, again, we didn't really have an idea. We just knew that we wanted some Jesco to see where he's at now. We were thinking still let's put this old footage before the Dancing Out Loud together
Right.
with some new footage, but none of us really had a clear idea. So Julian's like, well, let me just go out there and I'll figure it out. And so we sent him out.
Well, I mean, I had a sense that we didn't have a movie based on this old footage, though it's cool, and it's going to be lots of bonus material on this DVD. But I was like, the thing is, everyone in the White family is fascinating, and right now, everyone only had seen Jesco, and I'd first met Mamie, who, was breaking up fights on acid and having cakes with tits and pussy and just everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, and I knew the whole White family were kind of either loved by people who were rednecks or hated by respectable people in
What
that
do you
county.
mean?
And people from Knoxville like it too, were of either persuasion. Because, like, here's a perfect example. When I was first going to Mamie's house, I was trying to find her house, and I kept ending up at this stream. This is in '89, and I'd turn around, I'd do the directions again, and she didn't say drive through a stream to the other side to get to my trailer. So I was lost. I pulled over, and there was a guy in a pickup truck, and I said, I'm very polite. I'm like, excuse me, sir, can you help me? I'm trying to find Mamie White's trailer. And he said, you're trying to find Mamie White? And I go, yeah. Do you know where she goes? He goes, I hope you get the clap and your cock and balls fall off. And he closed his window. And I was like, okay, this is good people to meet. And so I knew there was this, it wasn't just Jesco, it was the whole family were amazing and fascinating. So I said, let's go back and see where all the next generation are. Because in my early, I call them like demo tapes, almost like demo Jesco footage. We've got Mousy, who's in our movie. We've got Wimpy, who didn't end up in the movie. We've got lots of Mamie. Where is everyone 20 years later? What is the past 20 years done? And so I decided I want to meet everyone in the family, including lots of the younger generations, to see what's happened to them.
Was there a point where you decided that this would be a year in the life, or did you take that role position in it?
I think we decided that pretty early. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're guaranteed footage. You just gotta, he hung out 3 or 4 days when he first went for the little demo reel, which we pitched to MTV,
Right.
and they loved and bought, but you came back after the first 3 or 4 days with this
With 25
unbelievable footage, and
like Tim and I was like, all right, well, I got to get back there by then because this is happening. I got to get back there. Like, there was always these ridiculously fucked up things that were happening to these families that we kept having to. It was.
So how much time did you actually end up spending shooting?
We shot 560 hours of footage, and I was there at least 1 full week per month. Sometimes it was 2 weeks, sometimes it was 5 days, but in general I was there every month, just spending time with them, and and we followed all sorts of stories that didn't end up in the movie because there were so many interesting things, and basically we're like, which is going to be the most interesting. So
the incarcerations,
people getting out of prison, people going into prison, people.
the addictions, the violence.
Yeah.
They live really hard, and it's a lot of so intense in places and so funny in others.
It got real hard to pick which stories to follow. There is you can pick any of them, and you almost make a whole movie about each one of them because there's like the straight ones. How are you straight? Not gay, but just how are you so normal? There's one daughter, Sue Bob's daughter, just comes off. She's like a little cheerleader and is surrounded by just lunatics. How are you making it?
So how are you guys watching it? How are you feeding back this information as you go? Are you guys watching tape every time he comes back from a trip? Or?
Just so excited for him to come back just so we can see where this shit's going because it was always exciting to hear the stories. And
it was overwhelming cutting this because there was like I said, so many stories, so much drama. What do you choose? What do you hang it on? And that was really difficult. I think for us trying to carve that out, but it was a high class problem having so much footage. But it was tough, and I think
especially because as you start to get into it and really start to like these characters. The thing is about all the Whites is they're super, even as fucked up as they can be, there's something really likable and just and I think each of us has a different favorite character. So I
Yeah.
wanted more of, I was really into Mamie. I wanted more Mamie all the time, but
then other people would be like, I hate Mousy, take a Mousy out. I like that, this person, the other person, we'd show it to people, they'd be like, no, I don't like Mousy, I like this person, put that more in. And like,
there was very little consistent feedback. Everyone had their own take of what
who they like best in the
Yeah.
family, and who they wanted to marry in the family.
So is there more of the film? I mean, is there a 6-hour film in here, or is this a series for HBO that we were at?
Well, we had a lot of talks with you. You thought there were 2 films in here, and I think, right?
I mean, just if there wasn't bonus features today, I would have killed myself because there were so many jewels we were throwing away. I mean, yeah, there was a whole another movie to be made with this, which would have been an interview based as opposed to a verite based movie where, it's just like these fascinating interviews where people are just sitting down and telling their life stories for, 20 minutes, but they're the most energetic, great storytellers that you don't care. You're just watching an interview with someone.
Well, as extreme as the piece is, I mean, it feels very old-fashioned documentary. I mean, an era where documentary is all about the personality of the filmmaker and, trying to find a hook. These guys are, I guess, a natural hook, but it does feel very Maisels, very, kind of old school in a way. As much as it's going on, much craziness is going on.
Well, yeah, we watched a bunch. I mean, we really watched Salesman a few times, and we thought about that, and our original cut was completely verite, but then we found it didn't quite work, so we threw in these like contextualizing things from the lawyers talking about the society and stuff, because I lived for years in Eastern Kentucky and West Virginia, so I know this. These guys know it, but a lot of people were like, I don't get the culture, so we had to put in these things like, this is how cult culture works, and this is how cult culture fucks people up and creates, problems for them. So, but yeah, we were just like, let's stay out of the way and just film it. And this is their life. This is, it wasn't like a documentary where you had to force something to
it
happen.
wasn't due to me. I was begging Julian to get involved because I thought he was going to knock one of them up, and I knew he was going to take a bullet. And I was just waiting. I just kept sitting in the back, just waiting. Oh, he's going to get shot this time. I can't wait to hear this story.
Jeff really wanted you to get shot. I remember that.
I did.
He's like, you get in there, man. What are you doing? Julian was under a lot of pressure to be shot or impregnate one of the whites.
One of them up.
Well, and I was under pressure from the White family to have sex with one of them too. Like there was one day.
A particular one, or was it just every day?
I got hit on by.
It might not be a female.
I got hit on by actually both sexes, but that's a different story. But yeah, I did get hit on by one night before.
You're hot, dude.
The thing is, in Boone County, if there's any fresh meat, like it's just like I was like, I haven't seen it. My sister hasn't fucked him yet. Let's get there first. But yeah, there was one night where right before one of our characters was going to rehab, and she was like, well, you should fuck me before I go to rehab because I'll be in rehab for a while. And I was like,
That's a good point.
and I was like, I don't know, maybe after rehab's a better idea. And then all Sue Bob and Mousy were all like, well, fuck her. No, you gotta fuck her. I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I don't handle pressure that well. And then they were all started screaming at me, well, at least show her your fucking cock. And I was just like, I knew Jeff would like that. So I did tell the crew that if anyone slept with a family member, the cameras were going in to document the actual sex act.
So did you show her your fucking cock? Or?
No, I didn't show her my cock. So.
It's enormous restraint on your part.
That was very circumspect to not names in that instance, and but give all the other pertinent details.
You pretty much know who it is based on the movie, right? It's like, once you see the movie, exactly. But you did everything else there was to do in the world before going to rehab. I mean, the commitment to clearing out the decks of everything she could possibly do to herself before rehab was
right. Yeah.
It was wow. It was great and it needed to give the movie context, like with the region and like trying and give information why the whites, what they're a product of, and why they're like this, and the region has a lot to do with it, and so yeah, I think that really helps the film.
Well, the region's definitely one of the characters in the movie,
Right.
town itself. Just
What is kind of the real life Dukes of Hazzard, but much harsher
yeah.
in a way.
Except the car's got a flat tire. Never gets out of the yard from the trailer.